primary ignition.
This is Star Wars.
Look out!
Core World News.
You may fire when ready.
From the bright center of the galaxy, I'm Grex Kondak, and you're listening to Core World News, your whole-net news service providing in-depth coverage of the latest stories from every sector of the galaxy. Welcome to another special presentation of Andor Candor. This week, the news team reviews Andor Episode 10, One Way Out. We now go live to the CWN newsroom to join your host, Ben, Grant, and Adam, with a discussion of another riveting episode of Andor.
All right, thank you very much, Grex. Welcome everyone to another week of Core World News. Adam, Grant, how you doing, guys? Good to see you. How you feeling right now?
Whew. Chills.
Yeah. Still recovering.
Still recovering. Me too. Yeah, it's been like 3 hours since I watched it, and all I want to do is watch it again. We got what we, it is what we thought, who we thought they were. It is we got the Prison Break. Which was fantastic. So, great thing. Do we want to just get right on into the Morlana drop here and to set the stage for this amazing episode, and then we can gush?
Yeah, let's stay on program. Let's have the Morlana drop. And let's dive in.
The Morlana drop. The Morlana drop.
All right. Well, first of all, let's just read the Disney Plus summary, which is a rare opportunity opens, and the time for Cassian and his fellow inmates to act is now. Now for our drop. While Ulf's recently deceased body is escorted through the work floor, Cassian convinces Kino they must attempt an escape tomorrow, and a new prisoner is brought in to replace their fallen teammate. Though reluctant to side with Cassian at first, Kino draws everyone's attention before lights out, attests to the rumors about Floor 2, and finally seems on board with planning an escape. Cut to ISB HQ, where Dedra informs Partagaz her staged accident of Anto Krieger's pilot and his ship worked. Partagaz consults his team about next steps. Supervisor Lonnie Young steps forward to say the least suspicious thing they could do is investigate the crash. Partagaz agrees. Back on Narkina 5, the prisoners wake to harsh light. Kino Loy once again addresses the entire cell block and gives a rousing speech to prepare the men for their daring escape. At the Chandrilan embassy on Coruscant, Davos Skuldran meets with Mon Mothma and Takoma. Davos agrees to help Mon move her family funds, but only if she agrees to introduce their children to one another. Enraged by the request, Mon Mothma tells Tay to escort Davos out of her residence. Elsewhere in the city, Clea enters Luthen's antique shop and informs him that a mysterious contact would like to meet. Fearful to trap, Clea volunteers herself for the meet, but Luthen is determined to risk it alone. Back on Narkina 5, the new prisoner is brought to the work floor and the plan is set in motion. Cassian sabotages a water line and Zol and Ham stage a fight. During the chaos, Cassian jams the turbolift, carrying the new prisoner, and the prison break commences. An action-packed thrill ride all the way to the control room on level 8, where Kino and Cassian cut the power and use the intercom to rally all prisoners on all floors to join the escape effort. Finally reaching the door to the vast ocean outside, prisoners jump into the sea while Kino stays behind, stating he can't swim. On Kafrene, ISB supervisor Young enters an elevator wherein he finds a small earpiece. Over the comm, we hear the familiar voice of Luthen Rael congratulate Young on his newborn daughter and becoming a father. It's immediately clear that Supervisor Lonnie Young is Luthen's mole in the ISB. Lonnie informs Luthen about Dedra Meero's hunt for Axis, the ISB's knowledge of Krieger's planned raid on Spellhouse, and Dedra's stranglehold of Ferrix. To which Luthen tells Lonnie, encourage Dedra's efforts. She's wasting her time. After sharing this information, Lonnie pleads with Luthen to release him from his service so he can be with his family, but Luthen tells Lonnie he must continue to honor his vow to the rebellion, and besides, he needs all the heroes he can get. And on that note, we fittingly cut to future heroes of the rebellion, Cassian and Melshi, running across a barren landscape on Narkina 5. Fade out, roll credits.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it was like first of all, excellent job, Grant. Thank you for getting that fresh,
truncated view of the episode right there.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it felt like a feature length film in 45 tight minutes. Less than that, really, because it's 45 minutes with the credits. So it was a quick one. Yeah. But so much.
I can hear Ben grumbling already. I saw the 45 minutes and I'm like, oh.
I never look at the time before I hit play now, so it's just like always a surprise, because sometimes time's relative. This was the same time as something about the Axe Remembers or the Axe Forgets,
Right.
I think is that, and that one felt like it was, an hour long because it was like all these vignettes of amazing dialogue and, really tight scenes. This one we had, the, overwhelming majority of the episode was the prison break. So I think it felt shorter because, I mean, you're just, as with most of these episodes, you're on the edge of your seat with tension. But I mean, we know our hero is going to make it out, but it's still super tense and so fun and very Star Wars. And yeah, pretty great seeing, people using DC-17s to, shooting around corners and white hallways, like at Imperial officers is like, it felt very Rogue One or A New Hope.
Yeah, and just really standout production design in this episode. Like when they got to the control room on level 8, that was like the classic sort of like Imperial console like control terminal. Like it was the classic look, but it was
Classic
great kind of set. Yeah, I just
Yeah.
loved all the little like the monitors on the walls, all the displays. Everything was just so cool. I thought that room was awesome. Yeah, shout out to production design. And again, they built these sets at Pinewood for this show. So these are real sets and they look stunning. Like each one is more beautiful than the next. It's insane.
So great. I mean, golly, I don't even know where to start. I mean, I loved the prison break, obviously, like it was so gripping and we've been building up to this for 2 episodes now, but maybe we should talk about some of the other stuff that's going on.
Let's scrub back on the data pad and like comb through, chronologically. Cause I feel like,
let's go.
I feel like it's super fun just to look at each scene. I loved how this episode started. I love
the coldest open.
Ulf in the body bag, just being like, escorted out through the work floor. Yeah. That was great. And then that whole scene where Cassian's, convincing Kino to aid with the escape, like that was just such a powerful moment. Yeah. Thought both of their performances were incredible in that moment and throughout the episode. But that was wow.
Yeah. I appreciate the immediate follow-up, right? Like this literally is the next scene from the previous scene of the last episode.
Yes.
Yeah, they didn't laze around for a couple of days thinking about what to do.
Yeah. And they had to do that because again, the whole plan is predicated on the new arrival of a prisoner to replace Ulf. So
yeah, amazing. Yeah, I mean, you can't understate what Andy Serkis has done in this like trilogy of episodes here. It's amazing, and and then we find out later really why there's so much emotion involved in when he finally makes a decision to go for it, but. Because he knows he's not getting off there anywhere. He's just like, I'm a dead man, but I can do some good before I go. And it was fabulous.
Yeah, that was fascinating to me. It wasn't my read that he didn't think he'd get out because, you'd assume there'd be like speeders or something, that they could use. My read was like that he had been a leader within the system for so long that he didn't know how to lead sort of like outside of the rule sets that that have been set upon him. That was my read of like kind of his fears.
Okay, now I gotta bring in my day job.
Yeah.
So that's called
Leadership.
That's called institutionalization, and it happens to people in prison and other institutions quite frequently that they don't know how to live outside of that institution.
Right.
And so I had that same exact read and I think there's some of that going on, but like. I think, and we'll jump ahead because we're going scene by scene, but like it leads to him. I think he knows that the one way out, because that's the name of the title, is through it and swimming away. And he knows the entire time, I can't swim. And I think that's this beautiful thing. It actually made me tear up because look back the entire episode. He knows he's a dead man. He knows he's stuck on that place. Like unless someone comes back to get him, he's there until they come back.
I'm going to assume I'm already dead and take it from there. Like, oh,
and he leads everyone to rescue knowing he can't escape.
Yeah. Do you think they go back for him?
I don't like, and that's not trying to be cold, but I think that they're learning those lessons of the rebellion. I think it's again, we're just going to jump around and we're going scene by scene, but the scene where Cassian decides to leave those two, the 2 Imperial officers alive.
Yeah.
Was very telling. I me, I'm always a fan of pacifism. So I was like, oh, good. They're not killing. But like, that's going to come back to bite him in the butt, I think, at the end of the day, or someone. maybe Kino. And I feel like that's a direct connection to what we see at the very beginning of Rogue One. Like, he has to get hardened. Like, he's already becoming a tried and true rebel, but he's not that hardened rebel we see at the beginning of Rogue One yet.
Yeah, it could be. It could bite him in the butt. You know, I mean, now they know his face and people can, you know, talk about it. I mean, there's probably security cams or whatever that caught it. But yeah, that
was that. See, I have some logistical questions for you guys after.
Agreed. Yeah, let's do it. Carly and I were talking a lot about logistics.
Like, one camera and a lip reading droid would have stopped these prisoners, but like there's no cameras. It's almost the electrical floors like seem like kind of a more expensive option than maybe just like bracers that they would wear that would electrify them. You know what I mean? Like it almost feels like logistically it was a bad sort of decision. You know, I don't know.
It feels, and I feel bad because Tony Gilroy is an amazing writer. It feels a bit writerly at times. But what I'll say is they did kind of back their way into it or out of it last episode. I think it was last episode when Cassian's talking about the fact that they're so like confident that they're not watching us. That he has that specific speech, right? Like they just are so sure of themselves. They're not listening to us.
Yeah, they're not listening, right? That was the last episode. But yeah, I mean, and this is a note that Cassian's hit many times. It's just like it's pure hubris. They don't think that anyone would dare step to them. And so I think they were just playing off of that.
But like I know, but I mean like even the shoddiest sort of prison institutions, you know, in modern day, like will have cameras in like the cell block.
100%.
If for no other reason than to intimidate you into thinking you're being watched.
Yeah, possibly. But I also have to think like one guy is looking at the monitors, but I don't know. It's just,
generally it's easier to do that and safer for everyone. No, I had that same thought. The other thought I had was, so when Cassian's being led in 4 episodes ago, he is clocking everything, and he specifically clocks the boots.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Carly and I were shouting
for him to
right.
take the
Carly
boot
and I were literally yelling at the television. Yeah, and they didn't, and it didn't matter. So
I know.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of moments like that during this plan, but at the same time, it's just the elation of all of them escaping was just overwhelming. That I was like, this is great, whatever.
The overhead shot with
him yelling at all the other prisoners to join the escape, and then but without lowering the lift, and then going back to lower the lift is standout moment.
Yeah. I love the fact that this was not Breaking Bad, right? This wasn't some intricate plan. It was basically, let's dump a ton of water on the floor so it'll short out the electric floor. That's the end of the plan. That's the plan. The plan is then we outnumber them, right? Which again, not to bring in my day job as a student of sociology and criminal justice, but like this is how prison riots and takeovers happen. Like the Attica uprising is fairly similar to this, right? It just it's prisoners at some point realizing, oh, there's a lot more of us than there are of them, right? And it just takes overpowering.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean that was.
It was kind of amazing that the water worked so quickly. Like I was scared that everyone was going to get electrocuted tenfold because they're now covered in water. But
one can get on the table.
But one guy served as a sort of conduit. He made the real sacrifice for this this prison break. He basically served as like a conduit. The Force was somehow involved in this moment, and sparks were flying, and then like the floors went cold, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, it worked!" And that was incredible. That was a amazing moment.
Yeah. And I love the terror in the eyes of the Empire, the Imperials, like just quiet. That moment where he's like, "Quiet, everyone, shut up."
Oh, and they were cowering in the closet or whatever.
Oh yeah, that was so great.
Yeah,
truly
real stuff.
Fearful.
Right? Yeah. Okay, back to the beginning. I swear. So after that scene, so then we have
the ISB scene with Dedra talking about the fouled ship and the pilot, Anto Krieger's pilot, and how it was cool because it like looks like a malfunction when coming out of hyperspace. I think is like
Yeah.
what she eventually explains.
Yeah, hull breach, everything goes cold.
Yeah, it's so cool. I was like, it was just theater of the mind at that point. I just visualized it was just so cool to visualize that.
Yeah, I agree. Is that the only Dedra scene in the episode?
Yes, yeah. There's only really 8 scenes in this episode. I mean,
I guess that's true.
Prison Break,
Yeah.
I would say, is like three
Well,
scenes.
I guess that's our only ISB one too, right? We don't go back to the ISB.
Yeah, we don't go back after this.
Yeah.
Is the only ISB HQ.
I'm sure we'll get next episode.
Yeah, I love this episode. We will talk a bit about kind of jumping around, I think, at some point. But like any episode that has less than 2 minutes of Dedra, to me
It's
is
upsetting to you.
is an inferior episode, no matter how great the rest of this is, because that is my favorite character officially.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I would say the character that closes this episode is my favorite character at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And the heart of the rebellion, and possibly the true center of the delicious chocolate candy that is Star Wars. You know,
This show's an embarrassment of riches. Like there's 10 favorite episodes characters.
There's no small roles. Every single character is just huge. Like it's just so cool to see all the performances.
That's why I think it's just like brilliant that they use, Andy Serkis, because it was like, we need a absolute heavyweight for this role, and like Serkis is so perfect.
And then there was at no point could he ever sound more like Snoke than he did in this episode, where he's using the
voice modulator.
It's like all bassy,
right.
and I was like, oh, this
That's
is
so
exactly
funny.
the Snoke mod like evoker at this point.
That's really funny. I knew
It was
something
exact at that point. And I was
something
like, wow,
was happening in my brain, and I don't know what's happening in my brain. That's exactly what was
shouting,
going
too.
on.
He's also
So far, I did not think of Snoke
Very
one
fast.
time.
No,
passionate.
I mean this is a very Caesar episode, right? From his role of the Planet of the Apes reboots. Like it's very him leading the ape rebellion.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Come on, you do this every day.
Yeah. But I will say when they
You made those apes movies. You can do this.
Yeah.
It was weird having to give Andy Serkis a pep talk, because I'm like, he's Andy Serkis, he's fine.
Yeah.
He'll get it. But I'll say that like I think when he was introduced, was it just 4 episodes ago we got Serkis for the first time?
Yeah.
Where I saw him and I'm like, that's how we're using Andy Serkis? Like that's it? Like because you can only use a character in so many ways. He can do other stuff, but I'm like, I love Andy Serkis, and I love when we get him as just a person.
Yeah.
And after this episode, I'm like, yes, this is how you use Andy Serkis. Like this is like he's just the standout of this whole arc, and he's the first one who made me cry in this entire season.
Yeah, it's such a tragic character too when you know the end. But I mean, it gives so much gravity on rewatch, because you're just like, okay.
Yeah, I think the scene we're now on is my favorite scene of his. With the whole "there's only one way out," it's like the first speech he gives. I guess it's not the only one way out speech, because he gives another only one way out speech over the intercom later. Because the speech ends with that as kind of being the mantra, and
the chant,
but this first one he gives, that first speech he gives, in this scene where they all wake up and he gives that speech, like that blew me away. That was my favorite scene, my favorite Serkis.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that scene because it's clear, like Kino told everyone, go to bed, we'll figure this out.
Yeah,
right. Basically, is what he tells everyone, and you could just, it's not told in any storytelling except Andy Serkis's face, which is the best storytelling device you could ever have, is just his face. Is that he didn't sleep, and he spent the entire night figuring out, what am I going to tell these men? Yeah,
I think when Cassian first says, "I'd rather die trying to take them down than give them what they want," like, and you see Serkis's sort of his reaction to that was spellbinding. Like again, like his performance is spellbinding. Yeah, that whole speech, so good. We're done counting our shifts. There's only then and now. There's only one way out. Play it how you want, but I'm going to assume I'm already dead and take it from there. Like, ugh. Like,
yep. Yeah. Everyone just
chills.
like, yeah, heavy hits, just full uppercut over and over again.
Yeah.
I did want to go back to that scene, just because I didn't want to skip over it with Dedra Mira. We didn't get much, but we got another beat of the patriarchy in there, when our hero, Lana Young, our newest hero, Yolani Young, steps on her
think
again.
about that. That does uphold the pattern of just men interrupting her.
Oh,
and interrupting her
face
plans.
as she storms out of the room. She's just like, again with these men. Like,
To be
fair,
fair, I wonder if Kafrene falls under Young's sort of like sector, like that's within his sector of jurisdiction.
I mean, sure, but there's ways to do it. You know what's funny, Ben, is I'm glad you pointed out because I did not notice that at all, and I think the reason I didn't notice it at all because I think if no one stepped on her lines, I would have noticed that. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
where I'm just so used to like the patriarchy and just women being talked over and stepped on, and then I'm just like, hey, that seems like a normal scene. This is how it would actually happen in real life. Everything's fine here.
I feel like the episode 4 or 5, like nobody gets in her way though. Like early on, like there's one episode where like nobody.
She definitely has a couple of moments where she's leading it. Yeah.
It's been picking up. They've been hitting that drum like the past couple episodes hard to be like, oh, and by
because once she has started to rise in the ranks and become noticed by the superiors. She's a target now.
Yeah, watch your back was part of Gaz's wisdom there. Right. So then after that we get the Maul and Mothma scene.
Yeah, we get Davos Skeldron. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So this is again another fantastic scene. And I love this new character. He's not exactly who I thought he was. He's a little more refined. What's his name? Davos Skeldron?
Davos Skeldron.
Yeah.
I mean,
which is interesting because like his last name and like the suffix is doesn't end with an A. Like what's his deal?
Yeah.
I gotta know about that. I gotta know what the
this is what a Chandrillan criminal looks like.
Yeah,
exactly. That's the thing, right? Like I sat there same as you, Ben. I'm like, oh, this is not who I was expecting. And about 5 minutes into the scene or a couple minutes in, I'm like, oh, this is exactly what a Chandrillan gangster looks like.
Like much more refined, smile behind his teeth, new money outfit.
Kind of had like a cheap haircut, though. Like that was kind of the giveaway. You're like, oh, he has like a really
okay. Sort of like, you know what? No, you know what his giveaway was? His face. His face is the giveaway. He's. I just want to say it like it's natural, but I can't. But he's a poor man's Willem Dafoe. Right? Like you put
you just villainous look. Yeah.
No. I just mean because he looks like Willem Dafoe and I don't know who he is. So he
cheekbones and jaw. Yeah.
Cheekbones. Okay. He does an excellent job, whoever this actor is. Well cast. I actually like it that they used him and not Willem Dafoe, because I would have been sitting there going, it's Willem Dafoe the entire time. And to be fair, this entire time
that was your problem with Solo. I know. You told us.
I will say the entire time I was watching this, I was thinking that should be Willem Dafoe. So I guess it kind of got me.
Maybe you were.
Yeah, this sounds like an Adam problem.
It's 100%. But I will say, you put Willem Dafoe in a scene. Yeah. If you want to be unsettled, like I was just watching American Psycho, and people forget Willem Dafoe is in American Psycho, and he's the nicest character in that entire movie. But it's so unsettling whenever he's on screen because, like, he's going to eat your soul. Like, it's Willem Dafoe.
Yeah. Good times. But yeah, so much more civil conversation. I didn't know how that was going to go. And it was Mon who gets aggro there. But again, just like so refined, so understated, everything they say in their conversations. And I loved all the lore we get about Chandrilla out of this whole show, but out of this one scene in particular. You know, they're talking about the marriage, right? And
the marriage stuff,
the convention of the Chandrillan marriage, and people don't understand how that works. And I mean, it's very Game of Thrones, where it's like, you know, they marry.
Yeah, that conversation felt very Thronesy because there was just so much subtext and so much sort of like it was so tactful. Like, it feels like Davos is trying to warm Mothma up to like sort of the traditional values that he still wants to honor and things like that just early in the conversation. And then like as the conversation goes, he's just eases her into the idea of the two kids being introduced to one another. And then like, it's just he seems very tactful and very devilish and sort of.
Yeah. He's like, I'm on your team. I understand what you're going through. It was very empathetic. Conversation on his part and not threatening. And I mean, even the ask was not threatening.
But I felt like even there was a veiled threat kind of at the end, though, when he says that's the first untrue thing you've said. I think the subtext there is you've said other things that are untrue during this conversation.
Yeah.
I think that was the subtext there. Yeah.
Oh,
he's also like, I may have huffed some goblin gas at some point. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Yeah.
No, sorry.
This scene was like we're only seeing the top of the iceberg. You know, like there's so much going on in this scene that just looks and
so much that's not being said. Well, I mean, he did say that's the first untrue thing you said. So maybe the thing is not the lies she said, but the truths she said but didn't want to say. Where it's like, you know, like she admitted that
you've given away a lot. Yeah.
Plenty.
I just want to. This is going to completely sidetrack us for a couple of minutes, but might be worth a conversation. So you mentioned Game of Thrones, and this is the second time in a week I've heard Game of Thrones in reference to Andor, and I had never thought about it until that in your reference, and I think there's really something there. I think this is the closest thing you get to Game of Thrones in Star Wars, unless you do like a more epic thing.
Well,
but in terms of television,
betrothals to unite houses,
houses, politics, subtlety, which is sometimes missing from Star Wars.
Yeah.
So here's what bummed me out about that. Not the connection, but the fact that we know we are 2 episodes away from the season finale, and then we're 12 episodes away to the end of this series.
Yeah. Well, no, we're 14 episodes away from the end of the series.
Well, actually, I meant after the next 2, but 14 in total. 14 episodes away from the end of the series. Can we somehow find a way to continue this series past the end of it? Like but listen to me.
Okay.
Like it bumps up against Rogue One. So you peel off Andor. He's dead and buried. Well, not really buried. He's dead and incinerated. And then like we rename it. And then it's just Mon Mothra's like fight in like during like post like what's going on with Mon Mothra through all of episode 4 and 5. Like that's what I want.
That's what we're gonna call the
that's a lot
segment.
of
I'm gonna record that, and it's gonna be that exactly what you just said there.
Yeah, like don't end this series. This series should last for 10 seasons. Like 10 seasons. One is every year that goes all the way through all of the original trilogy, but take me through the politics of it and like the scheming. Like please don't end the series.
Yeah.
No, that's a great idea. I would love that. I do feel like my dark magic club cult sort of that theory still holds up because Davos Skuldrin says he's met up with Perrin like 6 times. Like recently, throughout the
he's like, I've seen him several times. She's like, of course.
And I'm like, whoa, that's playing into it even more at that point. I was like, this is crazy.
Chandrila.
I'm sure they saw each other.
Yeah, I'm no doubt.
At a super chill, normal wine tasting.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I'm sure the event was completely
happening where they were hanging out.
Just bottomless wine tasting. But there's a limit on wine, but it's still called a bottomless.
The wine was blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's you're right. That's still your theory is still alive. That Eyes Wide Shut. The Imperial Eyes Wide Shut might still happen.
This just gave me more, setup for it. So I'm happy because Davos seems to know Perrin well. That was another really. I think that's why Mon Mothma was so kind of enraged at first, but then just terrified because I think if Perrin caught wind that Davos is, someone who Mon Mothma condones as being a part of their friend group, like he's like, oh yeah, of course our kids should follow Chandrilan tradition or whatever.
So you think Perrin would be on board with that match?
No, it's fascinating because I think this is the writerly part of it is you leave Perrin out because there's just you want to keep the suspense up of what Perrin would feel about this situation and really deal with what Mon thinks first, and then who knows what Perrin could think. Perrin could hate Davos Skuldrin and they could be rivals, or they could be best buds. I'm thinking best buds. Yeah, I'm with you, Adam.
Yeah, I'm also wondering if this is not like a weirdly backing your way through a Perrin suggestion. Like when they were hanging out, Perrin wasn't like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if our 2 kids
like live like totally
unite the houses? Yeah. I again, I guess my role tonight is to let's derail us completely. Like there's no way that Mon Mothra is married or still. I mean, I guess you're married even if your spouse is dead. Legal technicality. I don't know. Is still married during the first time we see her in episode 6, right? Like what does Perrin's exit look like?
Yeah, screaming down a bottomless shaft.
Right, like he's dead. Right, like he's 100% dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely getting kicked, out into the city.
Yeah, out into into a driving lane or a space lane, Coruscant.
Yeah.
I think we're seeing a reemergence of Ben, the Boba Fett whisperer, who's now Ben, the Cassian whisperer. Because how do you not kill someone in that way in the series, where you just have you have all these walkways that are just waist high and like a bottom split? How do you just not have someone just go push and push someone over the edge, right?
Yeah.
I think that was alluded to in this episode, to tell you at the very end. I think there's
really,
because I feel like Luthen says, something about the ground, no longer being beneath his feet while he's standing on a skywalk with, if he just moved a foot to the right, he'd be falling, So it's just like, to me, I think that's always part of Star Wars, is that there's a fall. There's always a fall of some kind. The prisoners jumping out into the water. Yeah. But
also one of the signals for the rebels is removing a rail. Does anyone remember that? There's crickets.
So there was two of it, right? So there was a mark on the fountain, and then the
a mark, and then
I didn't even bother to incorporate that in the description, because I was like, a contact wants to meet. I was like, those little symbols, those signs were kind of strange to me, but
they are. By the way, that was a joke. I don't actually think that's foreshadowing.
Yeah, but it does tie into Luthen Rail. I don't know.
Oh, look at that! And his name's Rail. Like, I think we're there.
Yeah. Right. Oh yeah. Maybe they. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to look back at that scene.
Just to put another thing on there, one more note on the Mon Mothma scene. I love that there's like cultural differences now between Chandrila and Alderaan, and Chandrila and another human like area, and I think they've just done a really good job fleshing out that culture in just a few sentences.
Yeah.
Through this stuff, and that made me very happy. I came away from that scene being like, oh yes, like these are the people that Mon Mothma comes from. It's not heavy-handed. We don't get the full backstory of like Mon Mothma being a princess or something. It's just like she's aristocracy, and Chandrila has these customs that are different than other human areas we've seen.
We're attractive and privileged. Our children are attractive and privileged Chandrilan citizens. They're a match or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's a little draconian, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
but no, I agree, Ben. I love the world building that's doing here, because it's a culture we hear a lot about, especially if you go on the like EU side of it. You hear them a lot, but we get a lot of Chandrilan representation in Star Wars, and so to get a little bit of this, like, who are these elegant weirdos?
Yeah, exactly. And I hope she just gets weirder and weirder. I mean, maybe that like stoicism.
I'm loving the costume design though. Like the attire, the Chandrilan drip is out of control. I think that scene, especially with Davos, Tay, and Mon, they were all just wearing exquisite outfits, and then Mon's even her earrings are just like these just gorgeous sort of intricate designs. It was really great.
So what do you think? Do you think Mon reconsiders and does this deal and sells her daughter for the rebellion, or do you think this is what pushes her into the rebellion? She's like, if I'm going to go, I'm going to, enough of this pussyfooting around. I'm just going to straight up leave the Senate and become a full-time rebel from obscurity.
That's a really good question. That would be predicting what happens with Davos, which is, I have to think.
We may never see Davos
might
again.
Agree to just an introduction with the kids, but she's going to get Perrin on board with a total rejection of Davos, and in private, in pillow talk or whatever, and then so there's no real connection will happen. But
I'm gonna go.
Who's to say Davos's kid isn't like the richest kid in the galaxy and isn't like an influencer of some kind that like maybe Mon's kid knows about or something? You know what I mean? Like, I have to think Davos is living large and his family is living just as large. And what does that do to someone? And I almost need to see this kid at this point because it's like the most spoiled kid in the galaxy. You have to imagine.
Yeah. I'd like to see him. I think Adam might have hit it on the head. I mean, maybe this was organized by Perrin and
that's a good point. Yeah,
and
they're
pushing.
some sort of caution, call to caution.
And I'm sorry, what's the
think-
daughter's name? Is it Lita?
Yeah, I think
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's
that's
right.
Yeah, and
Well
she's
done.
nothing. We've never see her be anything other than a total brat to Mon, and yet
No.
Mon's like absolutely not. Like I'm not.
But we've seen her, right? And so like there's two things here. I think Mon's gonna do it. I
Yeah.
don't want her to do it. I literally went the second he started mentioning it, I literally out loud went, "Uh-oh."
Yeah.
And I think a couple of things to think about is the fact that we've given this actor screen time, which means like we're using her for something. We're setting her up for something.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's this less from the production standpoint. I think from a storytelling standpoint, we end this episode or nearly end this episode with, and we'll get to it, with Luthen talking about basically having to give up everything of himself for the rebellion. Right. And talking yourself into sacrificing yourself. And I think Mon's going to talk herself into sacrificing her daughter for the greater good.
Right.
And
And in this
awful
first
and
season,
horrible.
and in this first
yeah.
season, they can afford to take a big L at the end in the last episode. Basically, a lot of people can get into really bad situations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So second season and make good on.
I hope they don't do that to us though, because it's going to be 2 or 3 years till we get season 2, and it's like
I
just
know.
get a wee bit of positive closure before we move on.
Well, I think
But we're going to get the
Luthen is thinking-
Mandalorian in a few months, and that's all W's.
Yeah.
Like literally every episode's a W.
Yeah, Ben, don't worry. Boba Fett's coming back. Mando's coming back. It's those series
All
just
wins.
feel good.
We'll see.
Cartoons.
There, we skipped over news, but there's some Acolyte rumblings now. There's a full cast out.
Yeah.
I saw a headline today that said like that might be a spy thriller or like some sort of another sort of mystery thriller. So it might
Great.
be like a haunted, sort of affair from earlier
I think that
reports.
makes
So,
Yeah, I think I heard a synopsis, which is like master and apprentice, are following the trail of some sort of mystery, and it's something darker than they could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
It's very vague, but
love it.
yeah, it's
I-
got to be
I
Sith.
have been
It's gotta be
saying-
finding Sith.
Yep.
Could it be Carrie-Anne Moss as a sort of Sith, survivor of some kind?
I would
Like,
love that.
Who
I
knows?
mean,
Like,
As
'cause
Darth
she was just
Tenebrous?
announced to join the cast, so
Yeah.
we can dive into that after episode roundup. But
No, I have been saying I'm so happy. Like, let's do lighter fare and heavier fare, right? Let's just keep doing this.
Yeah.
Let's do Mandoverse shows interspersed with these heavier fare. Like, it's Star Wars. There's room for
Yeah.
everything.
I love it all.
will Acolyte
all
use
different.
stagecraft, or are they building sets? Do we know?
I don't know yet, but they are on a soundstage in England, right? Berkshire. So I
Yeah.
think Berkshire is not California; it is England. So
England.
I think that's the England site. Yeah.
yeah, so if they're doing that, I mean, they have to build some sets. I mean, I think there's a volume over there now. There's like 5 volumes. There's 2 in Canada, 2 in
Right.
California, and I think there's one. I thought there was one at Pinewood,
Hey.
but they can probably move it around.
Is Andor, to bring it back, does Andor use the volume at all, or is there 0 volume in this show? I don't know. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I don't.
I think it's
I
it's
think
zero volume. They
early
use-
Ferrix could have been some volume days, honestly, because there's some Ferrix shots that just look like random scrapyard behind
Yeah.
Andor that
Yeah.
feel very stagecrafty, but I don't think so. I think I've read articles where it's like there's 0 stagecraft in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think where we're getting to in 5 years from now is it's going to be similar, like where we got to with in the sequel era. Like, let's mix these things together, practical and
Yeah.
yeah, computers. Like, let's mix together practical sets and the stage.
Yeah. Because
craft.
I think that would help hide the voluminess if you
Yeah.
mixed in some more practical stuff.
I think volume's great for all starfighter stuff, or like going hyperspace and going to
Mhm.
hyperspace. That works great, but it's like some of the other stuff looks like the depth of field seems to be lacking. But
Yeah, maybe we're just have critical eyes, but a lot of people have critical eyes now. So, yeah. When we saw Ferrix, by the way, how cool was it? Did you guys get giddy when you saw a couple stormtroopers?
right, we just saw a quick shot of Ferrix there. It was
I
a
did.
gorgeous shot, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it was beautiful, and just seeing the stormtroopers standing post was like,
Dr.
Oh, sorry.
Momoy also has great attire in the episode. I'd like to highlight his attire.
yeah. Wait,
He's like racing around the corner. I guess Marva is not taking her meds or something.
oh yeah,
Health is on the decline. Yeah. So we
Yeah.
see that for just a brief instant, and then we jump around. I think we're now on the scene where obviously Clea wants to is telling Luthen about the mysterious contact that wants to meet. And at this point, did you guys have any ideas of who that could be?
None.
I thought it might be at first Space Jimmy Smits.
Oh, okay.
That's a great.
But then when he was like, we haven't met in a year, is it once he said is it a trap?
Yeah.
That's when I was just like, I don't think it is.
Well, so I did have a thought. I was like,
Oh yeah.
Gail Akbar or
See, I'm waiting for the Mon Calamari because it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
I was
What
like,
is-
at this point,
Radis,
Admiral Radis.
yeah, Radis.
Yeah, because when
Do
he
we
said,
see
he said
Radis
trap too many
in
times,
season
and I was
2?
like,
I gotta think we see Radis in season 2.
Well, yeah. So Grant, you sent
Yeah.
over an interview on the Watch with Tony Gilroy today, and
That's right.
and you pulled out one quote in particular, which was kind of funny, and I think they asked him sort of like, "Are you hearing the feedback and what's going on?" And he mentioned 2 points that we make pretty often. I'm sure there's other people
Like every other episode. Yeah.
but every other episode,
Yeah.
And it was the first point was, where are all the aliens or the non-humans? Sorry. Where are the non-humans? And he said there would be more in season 2. And the other point was, are you sort of, the other point he brought up himself was like, he's like, the other thing people say all the time is like, are you trying to mirror current political themes and climates and that are happening right now? And he's, he said he thought that was interesting, but no, everything he's bringing up is timeless. He's like,
He pushed back.
For thousands of years.
Yeah.
It's true.
He pushed back pretty clearly against that, and not in a mean way, but I think what's happening is basically he's just like, no, today is what's happening right now is mirroring what's happened for 3,000 years. Basically the other way around.
Imperialism,
It's
colonialism.
not
Imperialism,
Yeah,
fascism, spycraft. Yeah.
fascism, totalitarianism.
Yeah. I mean, Sun Tzu pretty much talked about everything that's happened in this show. So
Yeah.
Pretty far out. But okay, so wait, hold on, because this is my favorite stuff.
Any new antiques in there? Any new artifacts?
There's
Are you
one,
on artifact
one
watch?
for
What do you
for
got?
sure. So he was standing over and dusting what I'm pretty sure was one of Queen Amidala's helmets.
Yeah, her headpiece. Yeah,
Her
from what episode 1,
Two?
right?
It might not even. It might have even been this.
Might be
next,
1.
next queen that wore it. It might not have been.
Queen, is that Nabiri? No,
I think it's 1, and I think it's during like a lounging scene where
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like one
I
of
don't-
those rounds.
yeah, it's
But,
like one of the rounds. It's during her time as queen.
Yeah, they're like totally messy because it's like I don't have enough time for lore right now. I need to.
But
like, I had to
you know
watch that scene
what?
twice.
Do you know why that's so kind of heart wrenching? Is because he in his shop, there's all these trinkets that are representative of people who are ultimately good and good-hearted human beings. And
Like
I think her
Locune's
headpiece
face
is
mask.
one of many pieces that maybe belong to a lot of good-hearted people in history. And I think he collects these things. I think he's probably the most altruistic person we'll ever meet in Star Wars, even though he's sacrificed everything. And
Yeah,
people's
I mean, is
lives,
this?
but it's just utilitarian to the utmost, which is impossible to do, really. And he's doing it, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, is that part of it? Is like he's only taking light side artifacts, and that not like literally, but things only.
Well, it's just he would
touched by the
treasure
light.
that one specifically, wouldn't he?
Yeah,
yeah. That was It's when you think about that, it's pretty touching.
I wonder how much he knows because he said he's been doing this for 15 years. So that's since the fall of the Republic. And
So
rise.
there's a lot of stuff alluded to.
Day one.
The final scene, I think, will have us talking for 15 to 20 minutes because I feel like it alludes to a vow that was taken a long time ago. Possible roots of
we're only
the
15
rebellion
minutes
itself.
into the episode.
What?
Yeah.
I said rut row because we're only about 15 minutes into the episode.
And
So.
we've been rolling for 43 minutes. So yeah.
Yeah. We'll
On to your
up,
butts, everyone.
yeah. So after that scene, so any other artifacts in there, Ben?
I don't know. There's one. So I'm playing Tiny Tina's Wonderland right now. And to the left, just as you walk in, there are these 3 spires, and they're exactly there's a mini game that goes in, and you hit these spires and then they pop up and you have to race around and tag these 3 things in order, and they're exactly the same as the Borderlands things. It's a really esoteric connection, but not.
That's a little obscure, but all right, okay.
A little obscure.
Obtuse.
But,
it's all right.
a little obtuse. Other than that, no, I didn't. I nothing else.
No, everything else is out of focus, which is really frustrating, but understandable.
Yeah, I really think they make a conscious effort to be like, listen to the dialogue, listen to it, because I had to rewatch it, and then I was like, oh, okay, they're talking about some signal that's being sent to him, and the markings and all that. You know, when I was like furiously looking at everything except for
pausing,
the main character in the center frame. But yeah, no, I think that was it. But that helmet,
I am interested.
I think you hit it perfectly.
Yeah, Clea had a fantastic outfit this episode too. I think she has a full-on cape. It's awesome.
A lot of capes this episode.
Yeah, great cape.
Yeah.
And Cape Watch, great cape. After that, we have our meat and potatoes. We have the prison break.
Yeah, we have the prison break. Yeah.
We get Cassian sabotaging the pipe, which he's been trying to cut through that thing for a couple episodes now, and he's finally broken in. And then as he's like wrenching it to the side, I'm like, like what are we trying to what's he trying to do here? Like how big of a leak is he trying to spring? Because I feel like it was good. I was like, just get out of there at this point. I feel like it's good. But it goes with, and I think The Last Jedi does this brilliantly. And I think I think you could argue with the thesis that the Force is in this show, just given some of those small physical actions that happen that cause catastrophe and major sort of damage and major events are allowed to unfold after that. And I would say this springing the leak, the guy who's the conduit once the water hits the floor and causing the floors to kind of short circuit, like there's a lot of moments in here that feel like luck, like just sheer luck. And but so tough when he jams the elevator, the turbo lift, and the guy who he plans the whole thing with gets shot like immediately. And I was like, I was hoping he would get out. I was hoping more prisoners would get out, but they really take out a lot before.
Yeah. I mean, I loved that overhead scene where you saw from all 3 exits people swimming away. It was such a beautiful shot. You could just see everyone swimming away from.
Oh, that's the Utini. That's the Utini shot. 100%.
Utini shot.
Yeah.
Utini.
No, but then just a big episode for the E11 blaster. Like
E11 came in there.
Tons.
I was like, Ben's happy. He's getting like more E11 action than he's ever seen.
Well, it's a DH-17.
It was
really
wait,
only.
What is that weapon? I don't even know what that weapon.
The one with the silver cone on the end, that's the DH-17.
Yeah.
Oh, DH-7. Okay.
But there were E11s in the racks, and I didn't see too many people using them. Probably because they're like, well, this is garbage.
Also, do you think there was some blocking or some choreography where it's like only Andor gets to hold it in a cool way, and everyone else has to hold it like a squirt gun and like with 2 hands and look like just a joke?
Yeah, which is kind of.
He had a couple of hero poses.
Sure. He gets sweet looks with it, and then everyone else is holding it 2 hands, all like.
Well, in A New Hope, they hold them 2 hands.
Classic.
Which actually is a smarter way to use them.
Right.
But
no, I mean, I imagine so, but it just like Cassian looks so good with it, and everyone else looks like a dork. Like it's
because it's not his first blaster. He knows how to shoot.
Just go back and look at the choreography of like how everyone carries the blaster.
Yeah.
He even does the Han Solo casual look back,
awesome.
execute the guy in the floor move.
Oh yeah.
Which also Ben Solo does. Like
Cassian looks awesome with it. Like he throughout the entire escape, he looks so good. Like every shot is just so awesome.
I don't know how the actors aren't like pew pew like every time they're firing it.
Yeah, I mean that's what's her name? I can't think of the actress's name. From Jurassic Park.
Oh, Laura Dern.
She was in
Laura Dern.
Laura Dern. Like
could not stop.
You could see it
saying,
but you could actively see it in The Last Jedi.
I know.
She actually, when she comes through, you see her saying pew pew pew.
She emerges from like the smoke at one point.
Yeah.
You see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would want a person with a soundboard on set and a giant speaker, like just like triggering the sound like every time it goes off to just really like make me feel it more.
It'd be great if the actual blaster could just at least trigger the sound effect.
Yeah, that would be
loud. You know, that would be.
Yeah, just so you could feel it. It'd be
Pervasive.
great. All that stuff's ADR'd and anyway. So
But that escape was riveting. I was blown away by just like the
Yeah.
shots, Ham running around, taking people out with gathering more prisoners. And then the control room, Kino reaching out over the loudspeaker, rallying all the guys. And then it's so cool. Some of the shots there were great. I guess the shot of sort of like the floors deactivating.
Yeah.
There's some really cool camera moves there.
yeah, I mean, it felt very Star Wars in all this.
Yeah.
We didn't see a lot of our takedowns that we predicted. We didn't see any of them actually.
Whoopsie daisy.
Oh, actually, no. I think
Oh, yeah.
one of you guys said like they'd grab a tool and hit someone, and so they did throw the tools at people.
Yeah, I didn't see
Yeah.
the like chucking like pieces of the machine.
It looks like Kino throws a tool and it like hits this guard square in the face, and I was like,
Yeah, Kino's got good aim. I noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
in it
that
to
was
win
great.
it. Yeah, that was so fun. It was great. It was exactly, there was some losses there, but like that group was responsible for springing the rest of the whole place. And once they had taken it over, they all, all the officers cowered.
Yeah. I
was
have to
confused
comment
about
on
the
how
backup.
long. What about it?
What was it? You go, Adam.
Oh, I was just gonna say how long it took them to. It all kind of ties in together. How long it took them to electrify the floor, considering how often they do that. Like you think it'd be like,
Yeah, like why
Step
couldn't
one.
the backup power electrify the floor?
Yeah,
I probably
didn't
draws a
realize
ton of
that-
power.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, it makes
But like I think of backup power like in like I just think of like from where I work, like when that happens, like that's just enough for lights, right?
Sure.
Like basically,
Yeah.
but like the air system isn't running off the backup.
Yeah, so they don't have enough to electrify the whole thing. And I love that he was like, it's going to be 6 months or 3 months or something to turn it back on.
Right.
And I think that's why he didn't kill anyone in there.
That's why they didn't. Yeah, that's why they didn't take him out.
They'll
though.
probably they could all be killed by the Empire anyways.
I'm sure they will
They're
be.
like the
Yeah.
Or whoever their overlord is there. It'll be fun to see the fallout.
I love when Cassian was like telling them to go on program, because Cassian does this brilliant thing where he rebels in almost every authoritarian situation he's in, and dialogue sequences as well. Like even early in this episode when Kino's like on program and Cassian argues with him, and then Cassian walks over to the door and tells Kino to go on program.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I was like, Cassian is a true rebel. He's someone who just doesn't give in to systems of control, which is fascinating.
Yeah. Let's get into this last scene, man. Let's
So, okay, this is, I think, the scene of all scenes. This might be my favorite scene of the series thus far.
Yeah.
And that is Young on Kafrene. Finally, the big reveal. He is the mole in the ISB working for Luthen, which was very cool.
That come
what
to
a
us.
great reveal.
Did that come as a surprise to any of you, Adam?
No,
Yeah, let's hear Adam's thoughts on this.
I've never been so right for all the wrong reasons. So this guy, this actor, looks a lot like someone in Rogue One during the rebellion, like kind of around the conference room scene. It is not the same actor, and nor does it appear to be the same character. However, that did not stop me from the entire season going, well, this guy's clearly a mole because he's in Rogue One. Why isn't everyone talking about this? And so when he pops out as a mole, I'm like, see, I told everyone he's a mole.
Are you just being red mustache normative? Because I mean, the leader of Blue Squadron there has a red mustache.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, probably. It's just me.
I knew
you know,
had to be a mole because it's
yeah.
Tony Gilroy
absolutely.
loves like RA and Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Like I knew there had to be a double agent somewhere in the story.
It makes sense that Tim, he does get a lot of screen
sort
time.
of like I didn't give those guys any credence, given like they were kind of background characters for a while. And so when Young kind of steps up in this episode, out of kind of nowhere too, because he's like.
Yeah.
Last episode, there's not a lot of Young. Like he's really in the background for a little bit.
Because is he a peer to Dedra Mira? I think the three blue.
Yeah. They're
I think so.
He's
I think
also a
they're-
supervisor. Same sort of.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
he also looks super imperial. You know what I mean? Like he just looks like an imperial.
But then
Gaunt,
if you actually
high-tea
do go
clothes.
back, there are cutaways to Young, and he's like just staring after a meeting or something, staring outwards.
I'm gonna rewatch the whole season.
Yeah, I definitely want to go back because I think they do. Pay,
Yeah.
and then he's also, I think he's messed up early in the early episodes. Basically, like one of his planets is sort of something's gone awry, and he's not remedied it fast enough, and so Partagaz is kind of going after him, and I think that's probably on purpose to help Luthen. Like, honest, like at this point, you're like, oh, he's just probably trying to help the cause. Everything he's doing in the ISB is probably to help the cause. And being dog eat dog and taking out other ISB supervisors might be helpful to Luthen. So, like, you almost now can root for someone in the ISB. I think you can root for Young now and all his decisions. Gotta think it's going to end badly because this episode is like massive foreshadowing to like a lot of stuff going down, and like these two guys might be making the biggest sacrifice of everyone. That's why they're just not in the picture,
Yeah, as like you can root for him. I wouldn't spend much time doing that.
Yeah, but I mean, the cool thing about Luthen is that he is the node between all the other like nodes of the rebellion. And so, I mean, he's not necessarily a war room guy, even when this stuff's going on. Maybe, I don't know. I'm
Luthen's an idealist. He's like, fighting for something, outside himself, for other people's future. Creating a sunrise that he knows he'll never see. I was like,
I mean
that scene to me is just that. That is the to me. I was blown away. And then I just started seeing like visions of like Luke and like the original trilogy and sort of like, like the binary sunset. And then like just the idea of like Luke's ego gets a mirror in the cave. Luke's ego gets the attention. Luke is the sort of poster child for the rebellion, whereas Luthen built it.
Yeah.
And it's forgotten.
Yeah. Luthen did all the dirty work to get it built, but I agree. Like the second you have a character deliver a line like I'm fighting for a sunset I'll never see, while also delivering a line like I can't remember the exact line and it's clunky for me to say it, but something along the lines of like he says in that same speech he talks about turning the sun off in his brain, right? Dark. And then he says there's a sunset I'm never going to see.
Space. I was like, jeez. Oh,
and then later he talks about fighting for a sunset he'll never see. I'm like, yeah, you're toast. Like, and he knows it, right? Like, there's that bit of like nobility there, right? Where it's just like,
he knows he's damned because he's condemned to use the tools of his enemies to defeat.
Yeah,
I was like, he has to basically.
We may have identified my favorite line of the season of the episode, but
take people out without remorse. Ugh,
I mean, just the fact that like Young was like feeling so like self-righteous, and then but like the way that Luthen dressed him down was just like, it wasn't cliche at all. It just started off slow and like he was thinking, and then it was a torrent, and you just see Young wilt. He just It
was the character reveal for Luthen. It was that there are elements to me that are dark, like I'm spying on you at all times. I'm a voyeur. I'm watching everyone.
Yeah.
But also, I fight for this cause and I sacrifice everything. And so you're staying.
And this acknowledgement.
You're staying with me. I was like, wow, this scene was his whole character in one scene, which is crazy.
His whole character from beginning to end.
Yes.
No, but like literally, right? Like because he's talking about the fact that he doesn't say it straight out, but like he is so tarnished by the methods he's using that there will be no place for him in the new world he helps create.
Right. Because he's a criminal, right? He's condemning
creatures. He's sullied himself so much that he can't. There's no room for him. There's no place for him.
When he says like 500, what does he say? 50 men are dying for you and me. Like I do this as much for you as I do this for like the rebellion. I was like,
you and your family. Yeah, they're dying.
I was like blown away by that entire scene.
Yeah, rough math, rough calculus.
Stellan Skarsgård. The delivery, oh my god, just and who plays Young again?
You guys got it.
I forgot. I had his name. It's gone out of my brain.
You guys are lying.
Robert Enns, is that right?
There you go. Enns. Yeah, ENNS.
Amazing. Like his performance,
super great.
He was just he sold the whole scene because he's he's kind of like trembling, but it's also he's also like witnessing a profound sort of speech.
Yeah.
A profound moment.
Yeah.
And it wasn't pretentious at all. It was like, no, this guy is actually like the real deal. He is the rebellion. And it was mind blowing. It was a person witnessing the rebellion.
And it's amazing that like the line delivery of "You'll stay with me," and then I think I need all the heroes I can get closes the door, and like everyone in that scene, including the viewers, are equally sure that is the truth, right? like the two of them are sure, and we're sure. Like it's just kind of an amazingly done.
Boy.
Yeah, and he also goes like, "I take no pleasure in it, but you're staying with me," or something like that. And I was like, he's operating like the Empire, but he does have empathy. And at the end of the day, this is all about empathy, and it's all about creating a better galaxy.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and I do think, I still think that Kino Loy's like he made the same decision that Luthen Rails made, but he knew his time was going to come sooner than Luthen's has, and. It was like
that was also a microcosm of the rebellion. That whole scene was wow. It was amazing.
It's like it takes all of these people that make the ultimate sacrifice for a greater good.
All those people are going to be rebels.
I was wondering that. I was like, is this the first rebel force? Like all these people?
Yeah, I think a lot of them are gonna.
They're ready to enlist all these people to fight the Empire.
But like they all sort of scatter to the wind. I don't know if he can like look back at that list and find them, but I kind of expected.
I don't think Kino Loy is gone, by the way. I think he's coming back in season 2.
I hope you're right. I mean, that might be it though. I want to go back to Luthen for a second though, because like I like the fact that he talks about I use their same methods, right? And I think he sees himself as just like he has sacrificed his soul, right, for this rebellion. But at the same time, what's amazing about that speech, and again, why Tony Gilroy and everyone are just amazing writers.
Bo Willimon wrote this.
Yes.
Incredible writer.
Amazing, because in the same speech he talks about like I do think of you all the time, right? Like, and I believe Luthen when he says that line. Like, I think Luthen thinks about all of these and so he puts in play. And like I'm yelling at the screen in my mind. I'm just like yelling at him, going like, "But that's why you're different. That's why you're different than the Empire, because you care and you think about these people as much as it's a sacrifice. And you have to make those tough decisions.
Yeah,
you lose sleep at night because of these things. Like, it's so great."
Yeah, when he says, "I share my dreams with ghosts," I was like, "Oh wow,
yeah,
we are on some Apocalypse Now level territory." I'm excited about this.
I share my dreams with ghosts.
Like Aaron Harkonnen.
Yeah.
Excited.
Yeah, I think I need to find the full like written.
Yeah, when he's like, "I woke up every day to an equation I wrote 15 years ago, from which there's only one conclusion: I'm damned for what I do. My anger, my ego, my unwillingness to yield, my eagerness to fight. They've set me on a path from which there is no escape. I yearn to be a savior against injustice without contemplating the cost. And by the time I looked down, there was no longer any ground beneath my feet. What is my sacrifice?"
Everything.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. This speech is unreal.
It's unreal.
It's unreal. When I saw it, I was like, every actor student this year will want to just attempt that.
But the people have been trying to make that script forever,
Yeah.
And they've done it to certain degrees, but not that degree.
No. And watching Stellan Skarsgård deliver that, because I'm literally watching it right now as you're talking, is like, I'm not saying it's not getting like too into like the method,
unreal.
but it does not, because that stuff could be, if you had someone deliver it in a way that in the wrong way, it feels super written, right? But you see him writing it on the spot. Does that make sense? Like you see him thinking about, like in his head, like, how am I putting this together? Like you actively see him, even though he's an actor and he just memorized those lines, but he's in that moment thinking about like how do I connect all these thoughts going through my head right now?
That's such and it feels so organic. You're like you're feeling him do that. Same thing with Kino Loy when he's delivering the speech into the He's like, he starts out tepid because he's not prepared for this speech.
No.
And then all of a sudden he starts putting it together and then he trusts his heart and speaks with his heart.
Yeah.
It comes out. And
totally.
I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing acting. Yeah. I'm excited for the roundup today. Any more big points you guys want to do? Because I mean, like, there's some easy ones in the roundup, so I want to get into it.
Roundup will get us another discussion.
For sure. Yeah.
Let's go. Let's round it up.
Round up. Start it up right now. Let's go chosen one. Who is the character you'd like to highlight this episode? The character story that you were most involved in, most sort of engrossed by.
I mean, Circus stole the show. This was his ultimate episode, but that Luthen Rail monologue is the best thing I've seen in the show. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's Luthen all around.
Yeah.
Utini shot. We already discussed Utini shot.
Yeah. No, it's true.
I will say escape is them all swimming away from the labor facility.
I think my shot actually is like I was trying to think about it. I mean, we're just gonna talk all Luthen, right? When Luthen's having that speech, there's something about the way it's shot with the wind flowing past him that keeps evoking Vader on the walkway in episode 5.
Yeah.
Talking to Luke.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And I just love the way that's shot, and it's not putting too fine a point on it, but it's someone trying to sway someone to their side.
Yeah.
Like,
it was so good. It was definitely Dark Lord vibes there, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Costume designer won that episode. Like that was they told the story.
Highlight crew, costume designer, crushing in this
crushing on that scene. Because I mean, I hope you ask best drip, but I'm just gonna ask it right now because
let's go best drip.
Do it.
Best drip.
Yeah.
I mean, Luthen's the best drip. Like that outfit is the best outfit.
Yeah, that outfit's unreal.
I gotta agree. It's usually hard to beat the Chandrillans, who are always
it's hard
amazing.
For me not to go every episode,
right? But
even with the
like I want that outfit.
Wait, Adam, didn't you get to like Tay watch? And do you trust Tay? Like where you were wobbling last episode? Like, do you trust this guy?
I don't know, because Ben Miles, the actor, I've learned not to trust because of movies. So I don't know how much of it is like just he plays skeevy so well. Like he just does as an actor, and he does it a lot. He also seems like a really nice guy in real life. I just
what if you that?
And I've seen a lot of things.
The Slime More event that I've been alluding to. He brings her there, and he's like, "This is totally normal and chill."
Like, here's the thing. He seems to be doing
like, Eyes Wide Shut event.
How do you trust anyone? How do you trust anyone who introduces you to the mob boss?
Right.
Yeah, because you're like, how do you know him? That's the bigger question. Why do you have a contact with this dude? So
I trust Tay implicitly. I'll lay down in traffic.
There's like consigliere vibes, Tay, where he's
I think there's a backstabbing coming at some point.
Ooh, yeah, come on. I mean, honorable mention for the Utini shot was the like slow pullout on Mon Mothma in her submersed living room couch in front of there. That was a great, like, very Kubrick-esque sort of symmetry there.
That shot was stunning.
Yeah, it's great. And it was also revealed that these are the Chandrillan like apartments for whatever the Chandrillan dignitary. So it's not like she bought this lavish apartment. And it was, that was the old money, new money comment by Dava that was like, he's like, these are quite nice. A little old though, which is so funny to think of, like, that design is old in like the most modern set in Star Wars, but good times. Anyways, any other honorable drips that you'd like to talk about?
Honorable drips. Dr. Molmoy running on Ferrix had a pretty sick drip. Trying to think.
Who's Rail's assistant again? Kira?
Clea.
Yeah. Clea's always.
Her outfits are getting darker and more elaborate, and she's a fantastic character. Love that. But you just, no one's touching Rail.
Yeah, Clea and
that's kind of it.
Have like Vader vibes because they both have like big capes, and I was like, "This is awesome."
Yep.
I was like, "I'm into this."
Yeah.
And like now that we're getting to Davos Skuldrin territory and like the criminal underworld, I'm psyched for what could happen with.
I hope we get deeper into the underworld. That'd be great. I'd love to see more aliens, more uncomfortable scenes. They're tough to do, but they'd be tough to do to match the like vibe we've gotten off this show, like seamlessly, because it's so organic but if anyone can do it,
All right, backdoor pilot. Which character of this episode should have a backdoor pilot? If you could choose one character.
Oh, I want. Here's my backdoor pilot. All right, my pitch. So Kino stays at the facility, takes the whole thing over, and just starts running it. And it's basically like remember in Roseanne when they just worked at the factory and the boss was there? Like he's just the boss. So that's the backdoor pilot. Is Kino the boss at the factory?
That's amazing.
Interesting. That's great. Love it. I actually, when you guys were talking earlier, I was thinking Davos Guldran's like, you know, I could watch that guy read the phone book. He was so compelling. So you know, I'd love to see what's going on Chandrilan, Days of Our Chandrilan Lives.
Davos Guldran one's pretty good.
What do you got, Grant? I know you got one in your pocket.
I gotta have we gotta do a comic series with just Ham, like after the prison break, Ham's adventures. I would. That's the show I want.
Right, all through these adventures, makes it out free, and then gets like broken in half by a Gundark, like as he's celebrated.
I mean, you can do anything with Ham. I mean, those scenes are
very true.
incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just go Ham.
I mean, there we go. I think we got
the title and everything.
We came out of this a lot, guys. New characters? Any new characters?
What's his name? Lonnie?
Yeah, I mean, Lonnie, I would say
is new incredible names.
Oh, new names?
Anything.
I didn't catch any new.
You guys are killing me with this. I'm so lost on my IMDb right now, but
yeah, nothing popped up other than Lonnie, which is not necessarily a credible name, but a good. I mean, he's been around the background, but good deployment of that.
Yeah,
character.
Lonnie Young's actually. Yeah, I don't know whoever Apostle is. Apostle is.
All right. Oh, Grant, you found a name. What was the name that you found when we were talking names earlier?
Which name?
BXG? No, what was it?
No, I was trying to figure out who the guy is who's the first prisoner who hears Kino Loy and gets up from his cell and like listens to the intercom. And I just loved all those shots, and I was like, "Who is this character?" And I just couldn't find his name. But no, I think Molmoy is a pretty sweet name. I think
Molmoy's good.
I'm trying to think of new names that I loved. I don't know. We don't get a lot of new names in this episode.
Not really. Yeah,
it's all the prisoners we know who. You know, that's about it. But and no, there's no other names really said.
Yeah, not a lot of named people here. It's a lot of prisoner 6, prisoner at table 2. Yeah.
All right. Most memeable moment.
Oh my goodness.
I know mine. I'll go first. I'll give you guys some time.
Okay. Yeah.
I gotta say, Andy Serkis yelling "attack" the second time. And it's running at camera. It also might be the best shot ever.
Yeah.
It's really good. He basically says attack and then runs a camera, and it's amazing. I would say that's amazing. I would say attack.
So mine is, I have no idea where you'd use it. So it's not really a good meme, but it is the thing that got me the most. And it is when Kino says, "I can't swim," he says it with a smile on his face.
Yeah,
which is what makes it so beautiful.
Yeah.
Of this moment of just like, I've gotten here and I can't swim.
It is profound.
Like I feel like you could use that in a meme of just like, I did everything and now I'm here.
I did everything I can. By the way, I can't swim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah. And he's not willing to jump either. Like I feel like, you know, Cassian would have dragged him through the ocean himself.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, why can't you just hold on to two people's shirts and then as they get tired, they switch with two other people? I was like, because where's the planning here?
Well, said by someone who knows.
Maybe if he jumps in, he's like, I won't come up. Maybe that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I also feel, I think that's the thing. It's I don't think he wants to. That character just seems like he doesn't want to hinder anyone else, right? Like he doesn't want to sacrifice anyone else or their chances to escape. He's already dead. When he says that line, he's the only person who says that line that I truly believe it. I think when he says it at that moment, he knows it. Like he knows he's not getting out.
Yeah. Yeah. My meme would probably be "Power doesn't panic."
Yeah.
I kind of like that line. I love that line, but
that's a good one. Yeah.
You know, he's just he's like, they're not going to do that. Power doesn't panic.
It's a great one. Question for the holocron. If you could ask like one question to, the Star Wars story group or anyone at Lucasfilm who's an expert on Star Wars, like what would that question be?
Why didn't they take the boots?
Why
That's a
did
good
they
question.
take it? Yeah. Like just in case, like you're so indoctrined.
Yeah. Why do you have a? This is so
Not
this
like
is so nitpicky.
Chandrila naming conventions or anything.
Nope.
That was-
Nope. I'm gonna be the nerd at the Star Trek convention going, well, in episode blank, why
Yeah.
didn't they take the boots? No.
Worst
I mean-
episode ever.
Yeah.
Solid question, Adam. Actually,
No, that's awful.
I don't have. There's so little lore in this show. I mean, that's.
What my question would be, which maybe we'll get the answer, is what are they making?
What are the thing they're making?
Yeah, what are they making?
Yeah.
at-
What are
at-
they
yeah,
doing? That's
yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, they say it's a critical piece. Whatever it is, but I can't. I mean, it's like a gimbaled 3-way arm or 6-way arm or something that like fits on a. It's not like TIE fighter struts. They're not making weapons.
No, we're past them doing anything for the Death Star. The Death Star's already the Death Star pretty
Right.
much at this point, or getting pretty close.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Maybe that's it. Maybe it's like casings they link together like logs, but they're flexible, so they can, it's like structural curved elements.
Yeah,
Maybe they are actually doing like, skeletal structuring. They're like the centerpieces between beams because they're making a ball, right?
Right. Like I don't know if that works timeline, but that from a storytelling standpoint, to have him unknowingly helping to create the thing that he ends up destroying or helping to destroy in Rogue One is kind of a nice little tidy bow.
Yeah, that's interesting. And then you put like long beams on each one of those struts, but it's like they're flexible, so it holds the structure together. That's probably wow. I gotta go think about that. I don't even know. You got anything else? You've been blindsiding me. These are all new questions.
Would be about the whole sector, jurisdiction, and if Young is Kafrene in that whole sector, if that's the sort of like if the storytelling, if like as storytellers they thought about the galactic map at all, because like to me I'm almost like I'm just interested in like the creative process and if the galactic map is sort of thought of in the process, sort of like you would the globe if writing a spy thriller, set on contemporary fiction. Like that would be, to me, that's kind of interesting. It's like how much was the map involved with thinking about where you're moving in the galaxy and that sort of stuff. I like that stuff a lot. I like the geography and the sort of like astrogation of it all.
I know, and I know you love the politics too, because how it sort of like recasts the lines on the galaxy and why which was integral to the power structure.
Yeah, I don't like. That's another thing. Like, and I love this show, but like, I wonder why Mon Mothma can't get a couple scenes where she is on a diplomatic mission, like meeting with some cool, culture on another planet. Like the whole environment looks all, exotic and really like sort of gorgeous, eye-catching.
Yeah, I mean, she name dropped that group that was.
Yeah, like why not be there? Why not go there for a second? Just we've been at the penthouse for so many scenes.
I mean, of course, I'm sure
I love it.
Story like she's not that person yet. Right now, she's the sort of semi-anonymous.
Maybe like you would want to travel during this time. You just kind of want to hold power in the city, centralized. Because I think that's where the only place you're going to make a difference really is in the Imperial Senate.
I know. I'd love to see Chandrila at some point.
Yeah, that'd be. Oh, I would love that.
Definitely.
That'd be great. I think we're going to travel more in the second season, when that comes out in 2026 or whatever.
Toughest look award. Who at the end of this episode is just doesn't look great.
Perrin.
Yeah, Perrin. Even though he's not in it, he looks the worst.
Yeah.
Davos Skaldrin is like a scoundrel. Like I hate Davos Skaldrin at the end.
I love Skaldrin. I love that.
Really? I'm like,
I want to see more of him. I think it's great because he's so he's not a mustache twirling villain. He's like a very dapper, like to
me he's like the definition of the mustache, but the postmodern sort of mustache twirling villain. Honestly, like he's like,
I think if
he had a mustache and twirled it, I'd be like, that's acceptable. That makes sense. Talking about
But that was the thing, is like he didn't do any of those things.
talking
Like,
about finance.
he was so not aggressive on any of that diplomacy. I mean, I know it was all subtext, but still, you really had to read into it to get any of it.
Yeah.
I thought
Related
it
to that,
clever villain.
yeah, I liked him a lot. I think related to that, I think Tay is the worst look because what if two things happened?
Whoa.
Wow.
Tay
Watched
has
it.
been my like best drip winner.
Nope.
For 2 episodes.
I mean, he looks great, but he's not good at his job, or he's evil, because one of two things
How
happen.
did he not measure up that Davos is like such a scoundrel and be
This
like?
is what I'm saying.
But
He
I don't
either
think-
was really bad and didn't sniff out that that's what he wanted, which means he's bad at his job, or he did know that's what he wanted and he didn't give Mon Mothma a heads up, which means he's also just evil, right? Like, so either way, he's either bad at his job or he's evil. Which one of these does he want to be?
What if the corruption of Chandrila is like the true metaphor for the corruption of the galaxy in a lot of ways?
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
this kind of
maybe like 1 out of 3 Chandrilans are good, and like it's just most of them are bad at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
Most of them believe in
they come
it.
from a very privileged planet. They seem like
Well,
they
I mean,
are
we've
profiting
only
off the Empire.
Yeah, we've only seen the upper crust of the air side. We've seen very
Yeah.
few Chandrilans. Like, we don't know
That is true.
what the common people are like. I assume there's a middle class and a lower,
Oh no, I'm just talking about the elites and the people that are sort of like governing there, and that
right.
corruption of the bureaucracy and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's enough besmirching Tay, by the way. That's Tay is a saint.
Yeah, I think
Call
Tay's
him
a
a
snake. Yeah, Adam, I don't know. I
No.
think Tay is like gonna guide her through that cult party that I'm talking about, and then gonna get her out of that situation. And she's gonna be like, "Karen's gotta
For it.
go." Slymore is corrupting the entire sort of like political,
I mean,
a hierarchy.
You've both seen V for Vendetta, right?
I mean,
Like-
like
Yeah,
15
I've
years
seen it
ago.
100 times, but
Yeah, he's not a good dude, and
he's like one of the evil fascist sort of like
news anchor. Yeah.
or news anchor. That's right.
Yeah.
He's the news.
No,
anchor.
but like fighting for the
He's part of the fascism that's happening.
Yeah, no. I'm putting my flag down. He's bad. He's a bad
Okay.
dude.
All
We're gonna
right.
find out he's a bad dude.
Hot takes, Savannah.
I don't. Yeah, because like I can see that. I think there's going to be a big reveal with Perrin. I think Perrin is a massive setup. I think Mon Mothma's daughter, like we're talking about, massive setup.
Yeah.
I think it's going to end badly for Mon Mothma in this first season, but I think the second season's about escaping sort of like I guess the barriers of her family and sort of building something that's truly good, which she was scared would be lost from the galaxy, because
Yeah,
the galaxy's only getting worse. It's just becoming more autocratic.
Yeah, she's gonna lose either metaphorically or literally. She's gonna lose
Yeah, it's going to be bad.
her husband and daughter for sure. Not that she cares to have her husband anywhere near her, but her daughter, I guess she'll lament.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do you think we're going to release a Perrin figure, guys? Like a black.
I mean, I hope so.
And Adam, are you going to buy a Perrin figure?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, that's the exact one I'm gonna be looking for.
It's like, have you seen that? Yeah.
what's the
is.
thing he's gonna have in his action figure box? Like, what's he gonna be holding?
Uh,
A bottle of like Revnog or something? I don't know.
an orgy mask.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Shake
I just shake weight. I feel like
Squigs?
I'm just trying to think.
Squigs or whatever? What are they
Yeah.
called?
Oh yeah,
full of squigs.
Squigs,
Champagne.
yeah. Champagne. He will have a
Yeah, the
champagne.
champagne
glass.
squigs. Yeah, now wait, guys. Now that has to be in the toy.
Yeah,
It's like
Yeah.
I'm gonna be upset if it's not.
that's such a fascinating question though, because like they do the black series. I have like a ton from the Obi-Wan series. Like they release a lot, and I guess it's like they're contracted to release a certain number from each show.
Mm.
Like, what are they gonna do for this? Like I guess you get a little bit of like even like, can you imagine getting a Stellan Skarsgård action figure? I mean, I can and will buy it.
So
Yes,
the fit
like,
in this episode.
yeah.
Ugh.
Like, I'm gonna buy every single one. Every single one that comes out.
Yeah, obviously Cassian, Mon,
Sure.
Deidre, probably a.
Oh yeah, we should do
Siochan.
Black Series. That should be part of the whole. That should be part of.
That's
the
a good
wrap-up.
one. Yeah, what
Black Series big of the
who's gonna get a
episode,
black
which
series
one's
from the
more.
episode? It's hilarious though, because I just feel like they're gonna be so boring, but they're 100% all I want. Like I just think about the ones I've collected, like from Rogue One. Like you can see my Rogue One. It's all like it's Kale and Urso and
Yeah.
and what's his name? I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind a Partagaz fig, honestly.
Oh, I'd love a Partagaz fig.
Anton Lesser just on my wardrobe.
I would collect all the ISB I can, actually. That'd be quite a collection.
That would actually be awesome. I would.
There's a lot of good things there. All right. Anything else you want to tie on to the end of this thing? We have talked a lot.
No, I think that's no notes. Perfect episode of television.
Yeah, I don't even want to do predictions because I think I have no idea where we're going. I think I have a feeling this whole series is going to end with a big bear hug between Braille and really the rebellion and Cassian Andor. But that's as much.
Doesn't it look like at the end of this episode that Melshi and Cassian are going to be enlisted with Luthen, basically, and like going to make a difference?
Yeah.
Because Luthen basically represented this message, but Cassian didn't fully understand what that message meant until now. This prison break, he's not only learned leadership in this episode, but he's also going to, I think, reunite with Luthen and understand that there is something more to what he's working towards. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. And that he has a unique set of skills that the rebellion needs, and he can fight the Empire. He knows he can fight the Empire when. I think it's going to be, Val or Cinta is going to come after him after Cassian, and they're gonna, he's either gonna talk them out of it and be like, I want to join now, or they're gonna be like, join or die, and I'll be like, I'll join. But
this also feels like a classic sort of like it was like a gangster film, because I think Cassian's gonna return home after prison, right? He's gonna maybe go back to Ferrix, go back to square one. You know what I mean? Like,
I think you're right. That makes a lot of sense.
And fall into another
Imperial. It's a noir almost, where it's like they're stuck in a cycle or something. It's just, it's like existential. I don't know. It's. I think he's gonna have to go back to Ferrix and start over or something. But in so doing, there's a massive rebellion. I don't know that he's involved in. I don't know.
Maybe he starts and leads the rebellion on Ferrix first, and then, and then he realizes he's a full rebel. I don't know.
I mean, after you've survived electrified floors, I think you can master. You have more competence in terms of mastering just a regular terrain.
Yeah,
that's a good point. That's a really good point, man. A really good point.
Yeah. Breaking news: they have announced 4 Andor Black Series figures.
Oh my goodness, Karen!
All right, so
go.
Let's guess them. We got to guess them.
Yeah, let's see if we can do them.
All right, Cassian Andor. I'm going to go with who I just said. So Cassian Andor, Mon Mothma.
Yep, you got 2 out of the 4 so far. Cassian Andor, Mon Mothma. Luthen is there. Luthen is 1.
Oh.
It is, but is not. Unfortunately, it's just kind of plain Luthen. It's not Luthen.
Like, wait, is it wig Luthen or normal Luthen?
Normal Luthen. It looks.
Okay,
like.
So like episode 2 or 3 Luthen. All right, and then Deidre Mira.
No, I wish.
Cyril Karn.
Nope, that'd be a good one.
Oh, B2 Emo.
No, I think B2 Emo might come with Cassian.
Bix.
You got it. It's Bix. So it looks like, and they do release these in waves. I'm guessing this is like the wave from like the first quarter of it. But yeah, so that's what it is. But like, I am so excited that in my future will be a Stellan Skarsgård action figure.
Yeah.
Well, there's a Baron Harkonnen that's already out there. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that's true. I can go find that. It's like I got something that have to complement my my Penguin from the Batman action figure, which is my favorite in action figure of all time.
Nice. In somewhat
Penguin figures are always great. Design. Beautiful.
In somewhat related news, Grant turned me on to like the Spotify playlists is been put out for the score. They're releasing them in thirds, and the second third just came out.
All right.
So
I got it added on
to that tonight.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Vader out. It's great. I've been
Nicholas Britell. We got to really expound on how fantastic his scores have been.
It was a really traditional score this episode. It was like very orchestral.
I didn't even notice it. Yeah.
Also, have you noticed that the title card, the title screen for Andor is a slightly different variation every week? So yeah, and now I'm listening to that being like, okay, what's this going to be about? But yeah, it was like a mellow orchestral score beat for this episode at the beginning.
Well, it gets kind of tense and then like ratchets up, and then like there's the Andor theme kind of like comes in.
Yeah.
And then when he does that like headshot, like when he kills one guard, shoots one guard in the chest, and aims the other guard and shoots the headshot, that's obviously off camera because you're like, you can't see that. But he clearly, again, they did the same thing from the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
It's kind of like off Hitchcockian action, which is great. It's fantastic. But that score was brilliant in that moment where it just Andor's theme kicked in. I was like, oh, this is awesome. This is a hero moment for Andor.
Literally, you're right. He's Luthen Rail. I need heroes, and you know, okay, yeah, that's why you want and need Cassian so bad. It's really pretty cool. The whole concept of collecting heroes, I think, is just like perfect for Star Wars.
Luthen Rail's just playing Galaxy of Heroes on his phone.
Yeah,
on his data pad all day. That's what he's doing walking around the antique shop. That's actually what he's doing.
Just playing Galaxy of Heroes. You don't see that, but he's a pretty bored guy most of the time, actually. All right, we got it.
One has high diplomacy.
All right, we're doing it. That was great, guys. Thank you very much. Everyone, thanks very much for listening to us. Please do us a favor and rate our podcast if you haven't done that yet. 5 stars or whatever the equivalent is on whatever platform you use. Leave a little message. Talk about how much you like. I don't know. It doesn't have to be us. I don't know. Whatever the reason is you're listening. His reviews also jump up our search engine optimization. And that's all we want. We just want ears on our pod. So
reviews are huge. You don't have to write a book, so feel free. Even just a couple of words helps. Yeah.
I enjoy Star Wars in the stars.
Yeah.
Super. Well, that's that. So thanks very much, everyone. And we'll talk to you next week about another episode of Andor, episode 11, the penultimate episode, which are always juicy. We'll talk to you then, and may the Force be with you.
This is Grex Kondak signing off. For the latest breaking news, follow @CoreWorldNews on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you, and good night.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.